Hi everyone, my name is Ray Smallwood. I'm super excited to be speaking with all of you, even as asynchronously as it is right now. I am the English and Social Studies teachers for 815 and 816, as well as the advisor for section 815. Just a couple of terms to know that are important both for you and your students. Um, the first is live. Live instruction is what you would typically think of as traditional classroom time. It is this period of time where the students will be expected to be engaging directly with me or any of their other teachers on a Google Meet, on a video call. Right? The opposite of this would be flex. Flex time is student directed and student paced. Students are required to engage in the daily activities, but they don't necessarily have to do it during the time laid out. If they need to take a screen break or work on something from another class that's giving them more trouble, etc. They're responsible for all of that work, but the time of it is determined by them. Other than that, the expectations are fairly standard. They need to attend all of their classes on time. They need to do all of their homework. I do accept late work, but I do not accept absent work. I will continue to hound students for work. I also do not tolerate cheating or plagiarism. Um, Regarding supplies, all your students will need for my classes will be provided digitally other than a pen or pencil and a piece of paper or pieces of paper. I'll be using Google Classroom as I have been to communicate with them, and I will use Dojo to communicate with them and with you. If for any reason they need to be absent, leave early, or arrive late, you will need to fill out the absence Google form, which can be found on the Baldy website. And this just allows me to mark any absence as excused. So the social studies year at a glance. In the first quarter, we are looking at early Native American civilizations in North America prior to European invasion. After that, we'll move to the spread of imperialism and then the establishment of the British 13 colonies. In the second quarter, which is about mid-November, we'll look at the American Revolution and early governance of the country post-revolution. Then in the third quarter, we're getting into the early spring at that point, we'll look at governing a nation, westward expansion of the United States, and the idea of manifest destiny. Finally, in the fourth quarter, which is solidly the spring, we'll be looking at the road to the Civil War and the Civil War, hopefully a little bit of the Reconstruction era as well. In English, we will be looking in the first quarter at identity and culture, with a special note towards perspective and bias, reading and working primarily with poetry and short stories. In the second quarter, we're moving on to focus on genre and expectations. We'll hopefully be reading the novel The We Free Men by Terry Pratchett, and we'll be focusing on creative writing. In the third quarter, we'll be looking at self-determination and transformation, specifically in mythology, and we'll be working on analytical essay writing. Finally, in the fourth quarter, we're going to sync up with social studies. We're going to look at memoir and biography, specifically narratives of escaping slavery and the Civil War from the perspective of Black Americans. Right. Here on the screen is important 8th grade contact information. Mr. Hostetter, the principal, Mrs. Nuski, the 8th grade assistant principal, Ms. Stavrakis, the 8th grade counselor. She is also your point of contact for all questions about high school applications. Mrs. Ryan and Mr. Carr are the 8th grade deans. Mrs. Harness is special education liaison. She's working with all of our 8th grade students. I am the English and social studies teacher. That's my email on the screen. Mr. Hilson is the math and science teacher. Mrs. Rogers is the English as a second language teacher. And then Ms. Nesby and Mr. Fernandez are our learning support. Ms. Nesby for English and Mr. Fernandez for math. So On that note, I am very happy to be working with all of your children. They are lovely students, and I hope to hear from you soon if you have any questions at all.